If somebody had asked me about 10 years ago what I thought of geothermal, I would have said, like a lot of people would, that it was a niche application, a niche energy source that was struggling to be commercial.
I used to be a skeptic. When at Halliburton, I pretty much thought it was very niche place, and I essentially discouraged my folks into looking much into it.
From my perspective, I guess from Shell perspective, we believe in more energy, but crucially cleaner energy in the future. And geothermal we see as a credible, competitive, low carbon option for the future.
What keeps me up at night is really excitement for this deep closed loop geothermal concept. Because the great thing is if it can be done, it is fully globally scalable. It can be done anywhere.
Most lately, I've seen the advances in it and now think it is scalable.
Got so much resources and horsepower available there in the oil and gas industry to help this industry.
Right, it's not dependent on particular hotspots, volcanic areas around the world. It's not just Iceland. It could be done anywhere. And if you think about the implications of that, it's mind-boggling.
Given what we have learned over the last 15 years in how to complete these wells, I think there's a real opportunity in applying all our learnings from the oil and gas side towards geothermal.
I come from oil and gas and I've made the jump to the other side. It is incredibly to see that in the past few years, the interest, but also the uptake of geothermal energy has seen an acceleration. I'm convinced we're kicking off the geothermal decade.
And just like we thought about Light Source BP, was when we were making an offering into a country like Egypt or Mauritania and Senegal, and we're talking about bringing energy to that country. One of the offerings was solar. One of the offerings is to develop their own natural gas and oil resources. But could an offering also be something of geothermal?
We've created our own geothermal company to try to start a path to this geothermal nirvana.
I assume you're all here because you're interested in the geothermal startup ecosystem and how we're going to fund it. I want to warn you that for the last 50 years, I've been working on another startup ecosystem called the internet, the thing that is carrying these images at this very moment.
What we want is dispatchable geothermal. We want geothermal, not necessarily that can run 24 hours, but that has enough heat that it can generate a lot of power for 5 hours or for 2 weeks.
Because I'm personally a believer in this. I think that much as what I saw in solar and wind, we are going to be able to come down that cost curve. I think you're going to be able to come down the cost curve steeper than most people think because of all that tacit knowledge in the oil field service sector that you mentioned.
So it seems to me that as we think about where we invest in geothermal, we should make multiple investments. We shouldn't make a single bet. But we also should be thinking about the role where geothermal will be able, for an average kilowatt hour, to earn a much higher than average price.
Geothermal feels to me like the internet in the 1970s. It's been underestimated, but it's happening. It's been underestimated by factors of 10.
I think I've got faith out of this last hour and a half that we can do something like this together and stop and listen to Matt and the guys in geothermal, take their lessons learned, blend them with the oil and gas lessons learned, and go out there and do something. Yeah, I think it's quite exciting times actually.
I truly believe the learnings and the capability from the oil and gas industry have to play here. We have to carry the learnings over, and the competency and experience that exists in the industry. It's a perfect match.
The oil and gas industry is the single largest and greatest asset we have on the planet to making geothermal happen anywhere at oil and gas scale fast.